Most people assume that if you want serious bass, you need a massive 12 or 15-inch driver taking up your entire trunk. But then you run into something like this 10-inch beast, and it makes you rethink that whole philosophy. When you first pull this thing out of the box, the weight is the first thing that hits you. It is not just some flimsy speaker. That double-stack magnet is substantial, and it feels like it was built to take a beating. You can tell just by the way the high-roll foam surround is stitched to the paper cone that this was designed for people who actually want to push their system, not just listen to talk radio. It is a competition-grade piece of gear, and honestly, it shows in the build quality. Now here is the thing about these smaller drivers. They are usually punchy, but they often lack that deep, gut-wrenching extension you get from larger subs. This one sits at a 36 Hz resonant frequency, which is a pretty solid middle ground. It is not going to rattle your teeth with sub-bass frequencies that you can only feel in your chest, but for the vast majority of music, it hits that sweet spot where the bass feels tight and authoritative rather than muddy or loose. Pushing 1,000 watts RMS through a 10-inch driver is no joke, and the cooling design here is actually pretty clever. It uses an advanced airflow system that keeps that 2.5-inch copper voice coil from turning into a heater during long drives. That is crucial because if you are running this thing hard, heat is the enemy. You want to make sure your amp is dialed in correctly, though. Because it is a dual 4-ohm setup, you have some flexibility with how you wire it, but you really need to feed it clean power to get the most out of it. If you try to run this on a cheap, underpowered amp, you are just wasting the potential of the motor structure. What stands out, though, is the sensitivity. At 83.6 decibels, it is not the most efficient sub on the market, so do not expect it to scream on low power. It needs a decent amplifier to really wake up. One thing to keep in mind is that because it is built for high excursion, it is a bit deeper than your average off-the-shelf subwoofer. You might need to double-check your enclosure depth before you start cutting wood. It is a minor annoyance, but it is the price you pay for that kind of travel. If there is a downside, it is that it can be a little unforgiving if your box isn't built to spec. This isn't a plug-and-play situation where you throw it in any old prefab box and call it a day. It wants a specific environment to really shine. But if you take the time to get the enclosure right, the output is genuinely impressive for a 10. It is not trying to be a show car subwoofer that breaks windows, but for a daily driver that needs to handle a wide range of music without breaking a sweat, it is a solid contender. It is loud, it is sturdy, and it handles power with a level of composure that a lot of other 10-inch subs just can't match. If you have the space and the right amp, it is a pretty compelling way to get that low-end thump without sacrificing your entire cargo area.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.